Forum today called What Cancer Cannot Do. It cannot cripple love. It cannot shatter hope. It cannot corrode faith. It cannot eat away peace. It cannot destroy confidence. It cannot kill friendship. It cannot shut out memories. It cannot silence courage. It cannot reduce eternal life. It cannot quench the spirit. Cancer has affected my family in many different forms, not only by breast cancer. I have an aunt who was diagnosed with breast cancer about 8 years ago, but by the grace of God, she is currently in remission. Unfortunately, my grandmother lost her battle in 1985, my father in 2005, and my best friend and favorite cousin in 2011. The deaths of my father and cousin affected me dearly. My dad, Alan Frank Lowe, smoked 2 packs of cigarettes a day. Never went for regular checkups, never went to the ER, never went to the doctor for anything. He became very ill one day, thinking that he just had the flu and he could fight it off on his own. My father was sick for approximately 2 weeks before my uncle, who lived in Michigan, drove 6 hours to where my father lived in Cahokia, Illinois, to make him go to the ER. They ran test after test and discovered the cancer in my dad's body. When he was diagnosed, they informed him that chemo wouldn't do him any good. It had gone undetected for so many years that they couldn't even pinpoint when the cancer started. All they can tell him was that it was spreading rapidly through his bones, and it was only a matter of time before it would be throughout his entire body. They kept him in the hospital for 2 weeks and then sent him home with hospice care. The one time that my sisters and I did see him, all he wanted to do was smoke a cigarette and kept asking for more pain meds. He felt that if he was already going to die from smoking, that there was no reason why he shouldn't be able to continue to smoke in his last days. They told my sisters and I that the strongest meds for him would be morphine, and if they started it too soon, it wouldn't work later when he needed it the most. My dad only lived a month and 2 weeks after finding out, and we were only able to see him once before his passing. My cousin and my best friend, Joyce Marie Jackson, lost her battle to cancer as well. She kept it a secret from the family that she had cancer up until about 4 or 5 months before it took its toll on her. When she first told me, I cried like she was gone already, just from the shock of the news. She said, "It's okay. I'll be fine. I'm going to beat this. If it helps you deal with it better, you can cry all you want to." She was so positive through it all, it was unbelievable to me. Standing before me was a mother of 5 children. How could she not be angry? I was angry, hurt, sad, mad, upset. I didn't want this for her, although I knew I had no choice but to accept it. This was my favorite cousin. Why did it have to be her? I lived 3 hours from my hometown, but every time we would talk on the phone or I went for a visit, she was always happy and upbeat. She never let it get her down, never showed any anger, no sadness. She would say, "I might have cancer, but cancer don't have me." I swear I think I cried more than she did and tearing up just thinking about it. Towards the end, she was hospitalized. Her bones had deteriorated. She couldn't speak anymore due to the meds, and she finally showed everyone her bald head, which was really absolutely adorable. Her birthday was November 4th, 2011, and she turned 39 years old in the hospital on what would soon be her deathbed. I got the call to come back home on November 6th, and I made those 3 hours look like it was only an hour drive. When I finally made it to the hospital, the first person I saw off the elevator was her oldest twin daughter. We shared a deep, long, emotional hug before I went in to see her mom. I broke down so bad when I first saw her that I had to leave the room to control myself. I must have waited about an hour before I went back in. When I did return, I sat down on the side of her bed, held her hand, and talked to her as if she was awake. I told her who I was and that I needed to talk to her one more time. As I spoke, I glanced up at her face and a tear rolled down her cheek. She blinked one time. I cried so hard at that point, but I knew she knew I was there. A short time later, the machine started to beat. Her oxygen level had dropped, and the nurse said, "She's leaving now." It was like she waited for me, or it was meant for me to be there holding her hand when she took her last breath. I had never experienced death so up close and personal, and it haunted me for a while after that. After thinking about it and talking it over with my mom and my family, I came to peace with it. God allowed me to come home at the right time, in the right moment, to share my last moments with my favorite big cousin and my best friend. She went home to be with the Lord that day, November 6, 2011, 2 days after her 39th birthday. I know that this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but there are many forms of cancer in this world. We have either experienced them ourselves or have witnessed a loved one suffer from it. Getting regular checkups is the most important step in preventing and early detection. Eating healthy, watching your weight, not smoking, regular exercise, limiting alcohol intake, and avoiding exposure to radiation are just a few ways to reduce your risk of breast cancer. So I say to you today in closing, to all the wonderful ladies of the world, be strong, be brave, be humble, be courageous, be badass, but most importantly, be informed. Get those checkups and mammograms, ladies. Thank you.